what's the workflow, and then analyze their workflow and figure out what tools can automate the processes so there's nothing manual left. And what the big tip I give people is, are you using all the tools that are out there?
Welcome to the AI in Accounting podcast. Now, here's your host, Joshua Feinberg of Vic.ai.
So I'm here with David Bergstein, who is a evangelist for Intuit. Specifically spends a lot of time talking to accounting firms that work with the QuickBooks platform. David, thanks so much for joining me today for our new podcast.
My pleasure, Joshua. I actually talk to a lot of firms that just want to go in the cloud, whether they're using QuickBooks or not. But I think this pandemic is changing the people who thought for the last 5 years, we got to go to the cloud, Now all of a sudden, we got to be there by tomorrow. So it's really changed what's happened now. So I do a lot of digital disruption. I'm changing my title from evangelist to digital disruptor.
There was a cartoon or meme going around the web a couple of weeks ago on which of the following was most responsible for the acceleration of digital transformation. It was like CEO buy-in and analyst report, whatever it was, and the not so funny part was COVID-19. And it's interesting, and having been in this role on the marketing and sales digital side for the last 5, 6, 7 years, as people were in denial about it, and same thing with Alltech, is that this is sped up the timetable across the board.
Yeah, and it's really going to change. There's a technology change going on that's completely different than the past. But there's a lot of cultural stuff that'll go with this also that you got to take into consideration. A good example is my daughter. Her husband, 2 kids, they're all at home now. Homeschool, they're both working at home. You really need 4 computers. I've been on some conference calls with people that haven't worked remotely. I've worked remotely for the last 30 years. So I'm used to it. So people who are just coming home, their babies are in the conference call with them. But that's the normal of people who work at home. You just got to accept it. So it's a big change for people who aren't used to it. But firms are starting to say, hey, I better get rid of excess space now. Because when we go back in the new normal, people who have open offices, the open office concept, you got people looking at each other. That's what people did. But now they're saying, wait a second, we can't have them across the table. We got to go back to cubicles or walls. A lot of changes going on.
Yeah. That's actually a really good place to start. I usually like to get some background and understand a little bit more about your career journey, where you fit in big picture with Intuit, how you got to where you are, what advice you'd give to people that are looking to follow a similar path.
Interesting. It's going to take me all day to give you my background, but I'll make it very short. I am a millennial in a baby boomer's body. That means I've been around a while. I am a CPA, CITP, CGMA. I do have a remnant of a small accounting practice left, so I still do taxes and accounting for people, though limited because I keep reducing it. And I've been in this industry since we used paper and pencil to do a tax return. And I'll call paper and carbon to do accounting write-up, where you would have carbon paper, safeguard system, and you'd be writing the checks and they'd be going to the general ledger and the subsidiary ledger because you had 2 pieces of carbon paper in there. So I've seen a lot. I've always been leaning towards technology, so I've always followed my technology path. I've been a VP at an accounting company. I've been a director of sales, and I moved over to Intuit about 6 years ago when one of my friends, the VP, moved over there, said, you want to come over? And that's when Intuit had just restarted a physical sales force for the field. And it's been an interesting journey. I enjoy it, and my goal now is to help other people, whether they be salespeople, support people, CPAs, and let them know what I've seen in the past, because no matter what we say about Lean Six Sigma, it really is a cost of quality is zero. The same programs keep coming back. The only difference today you can do what you thought you wanted to do 10 years ago that you couldn't. Because the PCs, computers, apps like Vic.ai weren't out then to automate and bring a little artificial intelligence to an accounting platform such as QuickBooks Online. Now we can do what we always wanted to do. I figure by the next year and a half, everyone will eliminate data entry and everything will go through the accounting system automated. And then if you're using decision software on the other side, it's going to help you advise your client. The role of an accountant has gone from compliance to advisory services very, very quickly through COVID-19. Actually, I helped a couple of people fill out their PPP and their EILD loans because that's what you had to do. You had to say, no, you can't do a tax return. Let's get you the money so you can stay in business.
Yeah, no, that totally makes sense. Rapidly changing, and everyone wants to be an advisor. At least people that are thinking ahead want to be an advisor. Some of them have a clearer path to get there. Some of them need a lot more webinars and podcasts and courses to help them along the way. Change is hard. I did a webinar earlier this week on digital transformation, and the people part of it is can be almost as challenging or more than the technology.
Well, I agree with you, and that's where the culture comes in, and people have to be willing to. It's really, you've learned in the past, you got to unlearn and you got to relearn. That's, I think Barry Melanson, the head of the AICPA, keeps saying that. And the rate of change is going so fast now. You got to pick a path and then you got to stick with it for a while. You can't keep jumping from place A to place B when you choose what you need to do. You just got to figure out what your end game is, organize your tools, and then move forward. Speaking
of tools, the focus for what I wanted to talk with you about today is QuickBooks Online. And the first place I'd want to start with is to get your advice for what you tell someone that's brand new to using the platform, either a CPA or a small business that's using it, somebody that may have had limited exposure to another accounting software platform in the past. What's your favorite tip for a beginner?
Favorite tip is probably the most basic tip. Invest in understanding the basics. When you sign up for QuickBooks Online, there are tutorials, especially in referring to an accountant. You click on the ProAdvisor tab and you have training and tutorials. You don't have to be a certified ProAdvisor to take the training. I'd recommend take the training tutorials, go through the packages, get a thorough understanding of what it does, and then get certified. To show you have some level of expertise. I myself am a certified ProAdvisor. I've taken the course, I've taken the refreshers, and I keep updating myself because the one thing about online software versus desktop is online changes much more frequently. So you should take a refresher every year to know what's changed and keep up with what's there. So if you look at the getting started tutorials within QBO, it'll make you more comfortable how the system works. You know, you got to know how to manage bills, how to input costs, and they're well constructed. So I recommend looking into tutorials. So that's my basic tip for a beginner: is understand what you're doing and go through all the education material. The videos are great for short tips. The tutorials will work you through the system.
So first things first, invest the time to learn. Get it right, so rather than just winging it.
Yeah, then as you're doing that, then you got to choose a secure password. You got to enter the company information correctly, enter customer details, employee details. You got to set it up right. If you don't set it up right, you actually screw it up. And that's why a lot of accountants, certified ProAdvisors, bookkeepers get a lot of business. A small business person buys it and doesn't ask for help setting it up. Yeah, I teach college accounting also, and I tell everybody who's a student, if you're gonna set up a business, don't just fill out the paperwork and decide you wanna be an LLC, a corporation, and so forth. Talk to an accountant and attorney. Get your advice up front. Same thing whenever you're starting something. Learn, understand what the tool is that you're using. And you set things up right, life goes a lot easier.
So at the other end of the spectrum, thinking about the power user, the ProAdvisor with 5, 10 years of experience or more on the platform, you go to so many events. I'm sure people come up to you all the time. David, can I pick your brains about this? What's your favorite tip for somebody that's really advanced? Maybe you're having a beer with them and they're trying to one up you on, oh yeah, did you ever?
Well, that's a great question. If they ask me a great tip, I always refer them to other people who are using the software more regularly than me. But in actuality, I did ask around a couple of certified ProAdvisors. So, what do you would say is the biggest tip you give somebody? And one of them is know the apps that you want to connect to QuickBooks Online. There's 400, 600, 1,000 apps out there. There's only X amount that are in the App Center, which is good. Understand the process of what you're trying to do, which really has nothing to do with QuickBooks, but it is the best tip for someone who's experienced. Understand the business you're about to advise, what it is the client wants to do. What is the setup for their retail system or their service business or the manufacturing business? What's the workflow? And then analyze their workflow and figure out what tools can automate the processes so there's nothing manual left. And what the big tip I give people is, are you using all the tools that are out there? And if you talk to 20 people, they'll each give you their favorite tip, which is going to be different based on what they are. But I happen to like an app called Transaction Pro Importer. I think it's owned by Right Networks now. It's a little tool that helps you bring in other products into QuickBooks so you don't have to manually enter it. It's really a utility app. Maybe Vic.ai can figure out a way to follow some of that, because you write a lot of APIs on bringing data in and putting data out, I think. So that would be, that's really my biggest tip for someone who's experienced.
Is understanding process, understanding workflow, understanding the overall business problems, and then look for tools and platforms that can automate and eliminate a lot of the data entry.
Right. And, I can name 100, like I said, 100 apps, but there's many apps that do the same thing. So the key is to ask other people by word of mouth, what do you use and why do you like it? I won't recommend anything unless I speak to 5 users of that particular app or software and they tell me why they like it. If I don't, because I always ask an app provider, hey, tell me someone who likes your product so I can talk to them. Pardon me. If they only give me one name, that's not going to satisfy me. I need more names, and once you get past 3 and you get up to 5 people like it. I don't care about the other 20 that don't, because for everybody that likes software, there's someone that doesn't like it. But if you give me 5 that like it, it means it works.
Yeah, no, it's interesting if you think about the evolution of where people were getting their recommendations in the earliest days of Intuit, like in the heyday of publications like PC magazines. You read that and you go to some offline conferences, and now you think about the whole software review site ecosystem with sites like G2 and Capterra, and just the whole idea of people constantly reviewing things, what they call the Amazonification of everything, with looking for that social proof. But yeah, this is age-old stuff that really hasn't changed. It's just evolved into new formats.
Right, and if you're an accountant, bookkeeper, join a group of accounting influencers, bookkeeping influencers. See what they're doing.
Yeah, no, that definitely makes a lot of sense. What do you see as the biggest mistake people make when they're adopting QuickBooks Online as the standard platform for their accounting practice?
I think the biggest mistake is something very simple: not using bank feeds and bank rules. We use the word bank rules and bank feeds and automation, but bank feeds includes credit cards. So utilize credit cards and banks that automatically go into QBO and set up the rules. Once you set up the rules on, let's say, an Excel spreadsheet, you can copy them from client to client. You don't have to remake them. So you may put more rules into a particular client because it doesn't apply, but if you have one master sheet, you can actually use it over and over. So to me, the biggest mistake is not taking advantage of the automation features within QuickBooks. The biggest one, not using bank feeds. When they set up a chart of accounts, make sure it doesn't have duplicates or unused accounts. Not setting up sales tax preferences would be another one. And then forgetting to lock a closed period. So your client can't go back and accidentally make an entry in something you closed. That's a great one, to lock down the period so they can't go back and open it up.
So it sounds like these are a lot of really important workflows and processes to adopt at the firm level, both with onboarding, with things as basic as setting up the chart of accounts and sales tax preferences, and then just on more ongoing basis is remembering to lock out the period when you close it out.
Yeah, I can enumerate probably 25 other things. Actually, going back to what's my favorite tip for beginners as well as experience, go out to the internet and Google best tips for beginners, best hacks and tricks for experienced users, and you'll see the people out there. You'll probably find 10 or more posts on each of those things, and you'll see some duplication, so you'll know what the best tip is. But I still like mine of, taking the tutorial, starting up. But there's lots of information, probably because QuickBooks is the most widely used software product out there for small to medium businesses. It's got a lot of users. It's got a lot of experts. So there's a lot of information about it. It continually improves. We're in COVID-19. What's every business want to know now? Tell me my cash flow. Help me do the cash flow. So they put cash flow features into the software to help people. So now when someone goes in, they better look at, hey, there's a new tool out here to help me work with cash flow. Or you have an app that you can add cash flow to also. But a lot more things are going into QBO based on people. Actually, that's a good tip also. If you see something that you want added to the system, make sure you put a comment and help, because one of the nice things about Intuit is we read the comments. If a lot of people put something down, it goes into QuickBooks Labs, which is sort of like a beta site, which is out there. QuickBooks Labs is in every QBO product. So you can always see, well, hey, they're testing this out. Let me try it, or let me look at it. So that's another helpful thing.
So there really is no excuse for somebody grumbling silently that something's driving them nuts. There's plenty of chances for them to speak up and make their voice heard. So it's somewhere someone on a product management team is seeing it.
Right, and the product manager sees it 100 times. Yeah. Say, okay, this looks like something we better be doing because it's a request. Right now, I know we've changed a lot about our reporting tools. In the beginning of QuickBooks Online, people didn't like the reporting tools. Modified, changed, enhanced, added over the last 6 years. I'm getting a lot of wows now of what's within the QBO to do customized reports that they couldn't do before. But, that's what goes on. We're very big on customer support, even though at times it doesn't seem like that when everyone's calling at the same time.
Last question I wanted to ask you today is your thoughts on ProAdvisors, accounting firms that are heavily standardized on QBO, where they should be thinking big picture about where their practice should be moving in the next few years. They usually don't have a product manager. Somebody from their firm will wear that hat and have to be thinking ahead a little bit. But what are your thoughts if you were starting a new firm or running a firm like this that was in a growth mode?
Okay, well, even though, like I say, I'm a millennial in a baby boomer's body, I'm not a millennial with my accounting practice. My accounting practice I've had for over 30 years. I've been in a partnership with other people, and my practice is winding down. And I don't take new clients, and my clients are my age. But they have children, and the children want to go into some of the businesses and take over. The future of accounting is, to me, all about advisory services. Because everything that we've been doing and everything that will transpire, you wouldn't be here today if Vic.ai didn't come up with a new way to automate and streamline the processes when it comes to accounts payable. I think you're big at that. Would I be correct in saying that?
Absolutely.
So if I want to help my clients, I want to talk to them, I want to set them up, I want to automate everything, and then I want to help them advisory-wise. Advisory-wise, to me, because I don't want to be in wealth management, means financial literacy. Talk to the client about being more liquid, more solvent, more profitable, how they should be putting money away to grow what's there. If I need to bring in a wealth management person, I will. But again, as a small CPA, my goal is to help my clients grow. I can help them grow if I'm working with them monthly. QBO gives me the ability to take a once-a-year tax client that would come in with their desktop software once a year and have to fix it. Now, if I say, let's meet monthly, quarterly, semi-annually, I can have a dashboard in front of me, and that's what the whole future is. I picture, my office right now is 3 monitors. I picture those that are in their profession are going to have their clients' information up there with KPIs. Are they liquid? Are they solvent? Are the receivables overdue? Because artificial intelligence software is going to tell me where they're at and give me a red light, green light. And if I can help them by asking them what's important to them and then helping them advisory services, they're happy. The compliance is going to be there. Compliance is never going away. One of the things about being a small accountant is people still need their tax returns done. I actually have pushed away most of my clients to TurboTax to do it automatically because the clients have less of a need for me to input data and more of a need for me to say, hey, you better be putting money aside in the 529 plan for your grandkids. This is how you can help them transfer wealth. So that's where I'm spending my time. And automation is making it easier. I take the top accounting firms in the world. You know, they used to input the data into an individual tax return. Now it digitally comes in from the bank or from scan or from an auto product across the board. They don't have to enter it. Artificial intelligence, machine learning has learned that this transaction goes here or there. And the beauty of accounting, as far as I'm concerned, you can't do a business tax return until you do the accounting. That's why accounting really will never go away. There's always going to be someone walking into a Baskin Robbins and giving them a credit card and to buy ice cream. And if you can automate that point to sale system that they take the credit card and it debits cash or accounts receivable or credit card receivable and credits sale of vanilla ice cream versus sale of chocolate ice cream versus lemon ice cream, you're getting your statistics from a transaction to a journal to a ledger into QuickBooks Online. And now it's more important to get the data analytics out the other side so you can see, look, they spent money buying lemon ice cream, but they only sold 2 lemon, but 50 barrels of chocolate. Maybe they shouldn't be offering lemon. It's wasted product. That's where the advisory services come in. Make it simple, but it may not be that simple.
Yeah, it definitely seems like technology is a big part of being able to provide advisory services more cost effectively, quicker to a broader cross-section of clients, even those that may be from relatively small companies.
Right. And again, every accounting firm I talked to over the last 4 weeks stopped working on tax. Well, they didn't entirely stop working on tax return. They still wanted to finish by the 15th, even though a lot of them are putting it off to July. They wanted to help their clients stay in business. And that was really advisory services. Those that are set up for it and are charging their clients not by the hour, but based on a fixed fee, they're better off. They're helping their client. And if they can help keep their client in business, that keeps their cash flow, keeps their client's cash flow. And that has nothing to do with compliance. That has everything to do with being there to help them with the knowledge as a financial person.
All about knowledge and education and building trust.
It's all about building trust. And one of the things that I've learned, even though I'm teaching college to people coming in first year accounting, You got to keep learning because there's always something new that comes out that you want to know about. One of my favorite things, not to mention another product, was I have an audience of 100 accountants out there, and I'd say, have any of you ever heard of Venmo, which is a mobile cash sharing app? When half of them don't raise their hand, I know they either have no kids or they don't know what's going on with technology. And that's how I sort of classify the group I'm speaking to, because it's a great way to put money around.
This is all excellent. I really appreciate you taking the time to speak with me today. David, what's the best way for somebody to keep up with what you're working on, follow you, connect with you, reach out to you if they have any questions?
Well, I have a Twitter account, David Bergstein, and I have a LinkedIn account, David Bergstein. I post a lot of things that are relevant in the industry, whether it's Intuit related or non-Intuit related. If I think it's something that helps accountants, bookkeepers, small business people, I'll put it out there. But I sort of stick to the technology end where I can. But right now, I'm just hoping we get past this pandemic. We're all in it together. We got to share everything. We got to help. And then I want to get out on the pickleball court again.
Sounds like a great plan. Really appreciate your time. Thanks so much, David.
And thank you for the time.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the AI in Accounting podcast. To subscribe and leave a review, check us out at blog.vic.ai or wherever you like to consume podcast episodes, including Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and YouTube.